I wanted to kind of backtrack to that rabbit hole. We've talked a reasonable amount about obsession in
Oh
this
yeah.
interview, and I want to take that to the next level. I mean, that's something that I can relate with a little bit, and I'd like to hear how you turned obsession into a powerful, positive mechanism for yourself, rather than letting it act as kind of a negative deterrent for your career and your life.
Well, I'll start by saying I'm still working on that. But I think yeah, I've had a long history with mental health problems. I spent most of my adult life in like major depression due to certain personal traumas that I faced. I also have a history of like kind of compulsive and also impulsive behaviors, but not to the point where a medical diagnosis is necessary, just sort of stuff that I do. And this impacts me in the standard day-to-day things. It's like, starting a new show and binge watching it, or starting a new video game and then just playing through to the end, spending like a couple of weekends doing that. But it also like the compulsive behavior also applies for me in in other ways, like in academics or at work. So it helped me to go from like zero to highly skilled with data science tools. I would I would start an online course and just beast through it until I completed every single video and exercise. I would decide to build something I didn't know how to and like leave no stone unturned until I figured it out. So for example, back in 2016, I wanted to build like a generative neural network that sent tweets out. So I had to learn how to build a neural network with Python. I had to learn about I had to read some papers on how those work, and I had to train the model and figure out how to host it on AWS, and make sure I had like a Twitter bot that could then receive tweets from my AWS instance. It was not the most complicated thing, but for someone who didn't know anything, I just went straight into it. Like I just read every single doc that I could, I read every single paper that I could, and I just got to the point where even though I wound up, I built a bot, it tweeted some stuff, and then eventually I took it down. But in the process, I obsessed over it so much that I actually got like pretty good at using like Python, AWS, and the Twitter API. And I think that experience translates to, so for AWS, it translates to any cloud really, like they all have similar features. And for Twitter, like any API really, you can kind of translate the learning about that to other APIs, I mean. And I guess the obsessive parts of my personality have driven me to do this, like pick up a new software library, go look at the documentation and try out every single thing on there. And it's the sort of thing that, like our tools in data science are so kind of complex, and some of the business cases are so complex that I do feel like this, while it does have the potential to take me down rabbit holes and make me waste a bunch of time, I think on balance, it's actually helped me more than it's hurt me, because it's helped me really just like without giving in, just master the complexity that exists in the business.
Well, I think, mental health is something that we don't talk about enough in this profession. I think data science is, any technical profession, it can be lonely. It can be wrought with a lot of failure. If we talk about the interview process, just getting an interview, the last numbers I heard is around 2%, just landing the interview percent from a traditional job board, right? And I mean, in a profession that the application process, those types of things are wrought with quite a bit of failure, it's really easy to get discouraged. It's really easy to get down on yourself. And I mean, those things are perpetuated with any pre-existing mental health challenges that you have and that you're working through. And I think that it's really important to be introspective, and it's also really important to use data to evaluate these things. Like rather than evaluating your success rate and say, I'm getting 3% interviews, I'm a failure. looking at that against a benchmark and saying, I'm getting 3% versus the average 2%, I'm actually a big success. And, you know, like framing your thought or framing your journey in one of those lights, I mean, it's very difficult, something I also struggle with, but, you know, it's important to have those conversations with yourself, whether it's with a therapist or with your family or whoever it is, because everyone has struggles. Everyone has, you know, idiosyncrasies of their career and the hardships they go through that can make this whole process even more challenging, more complex. And we never know someone else's journey, right? And it's part of that mystery makes it hard for us to see other people succeed when we think we're doing all the same things they are, and we're not succeeding as much. And I'm grateful that you're willing to share those types of challenges that you've had, because I think not enough people are talking about them.